Welcome back, part 3, with Brethren Waymon, elaborating on where we left off on 2, about the fight within each of us, good over evil, right over wrong, the fight that solstice has when it shifts from a longest day into working its way to the longest night. And we must remember who we are. I like to always say we're not even supposed to be still in existence based on where we've been. But our brother here, he's going to continue. Brethren, go ahead and continue to elaborate on what that thought was that he was sharing.
And you know, the apex of my thought is that, you know, what you were saying about that is that you were saying what Allah says. And that always touches me when people are speaking and even paraphrasing, you know. But there's a chapter in the Quran, Surah 103, and it's actually called the dawn.
The dawn, like a dawn of a day.
Like the dawn, like the dawn. It's called like the dawn, and it says. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim wa asr inna al-insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amalu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. In translated, it says, with the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, by the token of time and through the ages, verily mankind is in loss. Except those who have faith and do righteous deeds and join together in the mutual teachings of truth, patience, and consistency. The only thing that's going to break you out of the prison that you've been cast in unwittingly, known by the few, because it was the few that imposed it, suffered by the many. Unknown by most. And so, in this, the only methodology upon which to break yourself and to free yourself from the brainwashing and the abusive conditioning of your parents, and your parents' parents, and your parents' parents, that's why you be asking, man, what's wrong with these crazy men? Is because you need to be truthful with yourself. The only way that you can be truthful with yourself is not be afraid of the truth that you need to know in order to be whole. Even if it's against yourself, even if there's truths against you that you need to address them so you can be whole. That's right. The other issue is patience. Because if you don't have patience, you're never going to learn anything. If you don't have patience, you're never going to learn anything. And like the Prophet ﷺ says, 3 times always the best of things. Say 3 times. If you have patience, if you don't have patience with yourself, all is lost. And the other mechanism that you need is the consistency. I found consistency in Islam. It's as consistent as you can possibly get it. You know, it's so consistent. I know how many times I pray a day. I know how many times I recite certain prayers a day. You know, Al-Fatiha is recited 17 times by real Muslims. By Muslims, which means no less than 17 times a day. Al-Fatiha, the opening of the Quran. And so, you know, you're consistent in your love for your family, and you need to be consistent in your love for yourself, and you need to be consistent in your regard for others. And you need to be consistent. So consistency is a very, very important and empowering tool, because consistency is enforcement. See, when people come telling you about law enforcement, one of the things that you think about is the people who enforce the law, but the fact is that the law is always there. It's consistent. And the fact that it's consistent and it's consistently being enforced by the people who created the laws, it deters you from violating any of their consistencies. When you consistent, it prevents others from violating your consistencies. They be scared to violate your consistency, just like many scared to break the law.
Powerful. Powerful.
And just like the sister said in the beginning, words are very powerful. Words are very powerful. Knowledge is very powerful. But I side with Maya Angelou. I embrace her just like this sister probably embraces this brother. I embrace Maya Angelou because I not only know her story, but I know the things that she said out loud, you know, after she began speaking. With the things that she said out loud came from a place from within her upon which no man could corrupt. No man and no other knowledge could corrupt, because she was, you know, she taught at Princeton. She was an extremely intelligent sister. And she said, having knowledge, but yet not having the ability to apply the knowledge, you may as not have the knowledge. And then I read in the Quran later in my life that, one, we shouldn't be like donkeys with books on our back. We have all the trappings of intelligence, but there's really nothing going on that demonstrates that you are making intelligent decisions, not based on the society that conditions you or trains you or brainwashed you, but based on your own finding yourself and say, look, I'm going to do my life like this. I'm going to try to work within the parameters of these white folks' truth and their patience and their consistency, right? Because, one, white people, they have truth. They are who they are. That is the truth. Do they tell the truth? We don't all tell the truth, but it don't detract from the fact that the truth is we are who we are based on things that they did and they embraced. Because worse than slaves, they bred my mother and father. They bred my mother and father's father. They bred my mother's father's father's father, like animals. And they didn't care whether or not, the females didn't care whether or not the daddy stayed in the relationship, because from their understanding, the daddy could be in anybody. She got kids that, you know, who don't even look alike, because I'm the only 6'4", 300-pound dude in my family. Everybody else is 5'2", 5'4", 5'5", maybe 5'8". I'm the darkest one in my family. Everybody else is high yellow. You know, and we all got, you know, if we all came together in a group, you'd say, we look like the Cosbys. You know how the one was off? You know, one was off. Y'all really, and see, and black people, when we watch the Cosbys, black people said something and stood in a position in the room, in the living room, that white people couldn't identify. White people, they accepted it. Oh yeah, that looks normal. All black doctor. Everybody in the house black. Everybody. Yeah, the mother's a lawyer and the father's a doctor, and his office is in the basement. So he's a stay-at-home dad, and he got 4 kids, and 2 of them is high yellow, and 3 of them is black as night, and the other 2 is black as night. And he black as night, and she high yellow.
And they're all educated, smart.
Now, white people put that together, and that was cool. Cosby, because they wanted the money, they let it happen, and they didn't say nothing. They went along with it. They went along with it. But when they were showing you the Cosbys, they were showing you all along what the plantation puppy mill, the households at the plantation puppy mill, they had some white kids, half white, when we saying some, they was breeding babies for the house, to work in the house.
Because if you look at the mom and dad, there should be really no where the fear came from.
The only thing that we can produce, we shouldn't be able to produce anything other than an albino.
Yes.
We can, all of our kids should be black as us, or blacker. The only thing that you and I can create, and that's because there's a gene missing. He has he's albino now. The melanin gene is missing. You know what I'm saying? And so, other than that, you go back right now in your life where your parents started, and you extrapolate, where were they at? Because when I look at people now, I not only see you, but I see your mother and father and where they've been and what they've been through. See, I have to look at you. That's where I'm now getting your sacredness now. Now I got to have your value. That's right. Because now I got to look at you and say, look, your mother and father done struggled like my mother and father. They done been subjected to the same shit, the puppy mill bullshit, and we can in this. Yes. So therefore, if we can in this, we can never be enemies.
That's correct.
Now, who wants to really believe that the people that are the Crips and Bloods, I knew them dudes when they first started, and all of their mothers and fathers are from Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, South Carolina, North Carolina. I know their families. And you know what? Them dudes in LA are the perfect example of what a puppy mill environment looks like. Because in a puppy mill environment, they breed dogs to fight. Well, they was breeding people, they was breeding kids and sons to fight. Crips, they bred them. And a lot of them don't even know who their daddies is because they was in a puppy mill situation because the dudes was going around having sex with every woman that he possibly could because that's how he was conditioned.
Prove his manhood that way.
It wasn't to prove his manhood. That wasn't to prove his manhood.
Not initially. Maybe now.
No. Maybe in his state, that's what he thought that he was doing. Okay. That's what gave him the justification. He grabbed the state that, you know, I'm the dude, I'm the man. I'm finna go out and slang this and see how many babies I can bring into the world. Or I don't care how many babies I bring into the world, because I ain't finna take care of them. I'm saying that his behavior is an inheritance from the behaviors of that pepper mill plantation behavior.
Correct.
They took what they was allowed to do and know and brought it into society. And they passed it on to their kids because that's all they knew.
That's all they knew.
And some of them knew it better than the others.
So let me shift it a little bit.
Just like prison.
Yeah, exactly. Everything,
just like prison.
If we have an opportunity to have a classroom like this weekly, we could dispel the myth of that we're not enough. We could dispel that everything we're doing, that's just who we are. Well, in a sense, it kind of is because we have not did the work, the historical work of connecting the tail to the head. You know, I spend my time studying that because that's where I find my strength, my faith, and my consistency. As you claimed all those three, that's all that I've done. And in faith, in doing what is right, you know, what people don't understand, when you show that through the darkness, through the challenges, through the struggles, you can stay focused. You will be rewarded. You will be rewarded because everyone has to be born and everyone has to die. But does everyone really live?
That's God's plan.
Does everyone really live? Because you have to live in faith that the next move, based on what you know, you're going to get through. And sometimes you have to be, surrendered that you don't even know what getting through is going to look like. What is getting through? What is making it? Sometimes we don't know. It's just to be able to say, this aha moment has come. Even what I'm doing now, I never said I wanted to tell the story of my people. I never said that, oh, one day I'm going to tell the story. But when you've done the work, then you will be appointed the job to do. And when you show up with courage, then you're showing respect to the almighty creator that said, it's your turn to do your part.
That's right.
Because evil can never win.
Nope.
Right must stand over wrong.
Promise of God. He only changes the condition of a person when the person seeks to change their own condition. The promise of God. This is the promise of God. This is the Quran. This is not Waymon at all.
That's right.
The promise of God is, and I held on to this with dear life, because I asked myself, oh Allah, please give me the courage of Moses to walk through this banishment. Because Moses was banished. And so, you know, when you sent to prison, you banished. When them brothers was on that ship with them chains around their neck, around their waist, around their wrists, around their ankles, around their, around their knees to keep their knees together because they had butt plugs in so they wouldn't poop. So they had to keep their legs and stuff together. And some of them, went into rigor mortis because the blood just was so much blood on their back because it was, they couldn't go from side to side. And so just sleeping on your back, they had all kinds of, scurvy. They wasn't given, nothing, fruit. They wasn't given oranges or none of that. So some of them had scurvy. They had so many issues that them brothers went through. And the ones that didn't survive because they physiologically succumbed were missed. Because you know who's dying on this boat because you understand the cries, the different cries at different times on the boat. And you don't hear your mother crying for 2 days. You know she gone. Or you don't hear your kids crying because they got them on the boat too. This is the psychological deafening and brutality. And it was to the psyche. They want to make you believe that beating the body is the worst thing that can happen to you. That's the reason why that movie, The Passion of the Christ, was so powerful, because they allowed you to see the beating of the body, but they never allowed you to see what the intellectual damage, the human emotional damage that they did to Jesus by doing that to him.
That's right. That's right.
So, what they wanted to do is that they wanted to teach people through the story of Jesus. They wanted to teach the people out here that no matter how powerful you think you are, we can do you. What country glorifies the assassination of their God? What man can say that they have the power to execute their own God? I got problems with the psychology, and I got problems with the deafening of ignorance that permeates through us, and it's our ignorance that's killing us. It's our ignorance of knowing where we came from and who we are, and we can stop the behavior that has been imposed upon us on them black plantations that was ran like puppy mills. I'm telling you, I don't need, see, that's what I was saying. I could come here and give you a whole dissertation about who I am, where I've been, what I've done, To top it off, my name is Waymon Berry. You can Google me. That's the reason why there's really no need for me to tell you about me. Because you can Google me. You can Google all of the work that I've done in federal court against the prison system. You can Google all of the work that I'm doing now. I was released from prison October 4th, 2018. I haven't really seen the police unless he was in his own car driving since I got out. I work for Dale McKinney, who is also a sit-in participant with the sister. And me and him met in prison together. We was in prison together in 1982. And me and him remained friends to the point where when he got out of prison, he became an attorney and came to the Board of Prison Terms and got me out of prison in 2018. And all him and I done while we were in prison was be imams to the brothers, teachers to the brothers, leaders to the brothers, encouraging to the brothers, defenders to the brothers. Because him and I believe, truthfully, we believe just like I believe that after struggle comes ease. The other predominant thing that I believe is the love that we have for one another is sufficient to get us into paradise. That's Islam. You don't need to do nothing miraculous to get to paradise with Allah. You don't need to have nothing. You don't have to have you coming like you is, because He already created you and know who you are. And He know who you is, and He didn't create you to be no puppy mill baby.
That's right. He
didn't create you to have the scarring and the psychological damaging of the puppy mill, where there's puppies where you go and bend over and just to give them some love, and the first thing that they do is reach back and bite you. What is that? And we got a lot of brothers out here in this community acting just like that. They're underdeveloped beings out here biting and lashing and gnashing out at each other for no reason other than they believe that this is what they was created and bred to do. Because their mamas was in there trying to teach them how to be tough instead of being educated. And it's the meek. The Bible is real about it's the meek. It's the ones that humble themselves and surrender themselves and to understand themselves. And if she's wearing a beautiful yellow and green dress today, I can just admire it. I ain't got to put one on. I ain't got to be out there in the parking lot sashaying in the dress. So just because the person is acting and behaving in a certain kind of way, that doesn't make you have to act that way. And we need to stop lashing out at one another. If you're going to be angry, don't be more kind to the police than you are to one another. I want to tell y'all that. I've seen some of y'all, since I've been out here these 4 or 5, almost 5 years, I've seen some of y'all, when the police show up to any scene where y'all at, y'all get on y'all best behavior and talk to the police like y'all white folks. Soon as the police leave, y'all turn around and start treating each other just like y'all was on a puppy mill plantation. What is that about? And why are we letting these rappers glorify puppy mill behavior? Because all that they doing is treating you and saying to you what the white man was saying to us on the plantation. It ain't no different. What? You think a bitch is a human being? A bitch is a female dog. And that's what they do. They breed. They call you bitches because you a breeder. That means you're a breeder. That's what they called them on the plantation. The white people called females on the plantation bitches because they were the breeders. They separated the bitches from the cooks. They separated the bitches from the housekeepers. They separated the bitches. They kept them in a whole nother section of the plantation. You better get up on your game. You out here talking about you know stuff, but you slow. And here's our definite problem. And I told the sister that I would say this to you. The most deafening blow that the white folks gave us is to train us how to ridicule each other and be slow to understand each other. So people who are quick to ridicule and slow to understand, those are the people that are just chained to a brainwashing system that was only designed to breed more black people to sell to the open market. So if you was able to have 15 kids, by the time you had the 15 kids, the white man was treating you like you was Jesus because, you know, you had 15 kids. He done sold 15 babies up out of you. You don't know where they at, know what they doing, who they doing, what they doing. You don't know nothing. But you just sit there being treated, well, Master treat me all right. You know, I gave him 15 chili, you know, and so, you know, I'm retired now. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Because none of them people on them puppy mill plantations, none of them people became doctors and lawyers, and unless they got enlightened and said, I don't want this for me. So you go to the cities. I want you guys to go to the cities, whether directly or in your mind or through your media contacts. Go to these cities and see where all these black people are. And in all of these cities, these black people are living as if they were on a puppy plantation. This is all puppy mill plantation. This is what they did to us. This is what they did to us. It wasn't just slavery, but they bred us like animals and then dispersed us. So when we disperse from one another, we don't even care about each other no more. They came and got me and put me in prison, and my family left me for dead, not because they wanted to, because they thought that that's how it happened when white people come and get their own and take them off the parts unknown. Thing is just to sit down and shut up and don't say nothing to them white people. And hope for the best. You know, how many of y'all people in the penitentiary and y'all ain't been nowhere to see them? It's a bunch of brothers in there that don't get visits from nobody. White folks is in there visiting their people. Asians is there visiting their people, even the Asians. And there's so many, it's so less Asians in prison in the United States. There's a few more, but there's so less, the population is so less. It's less than 1% Asians. But you see them in the visiting room. You see Mexicans, they come see their people in the visiting room. Black people, not so much. Not so much. When I was 16 years old, the judge was gracious enough to marry me to my 19-year-old girlfriend. I'm still with her.
Wow.
I want you brothers to know, I'm still with her. I got a 40-year-old son with her. She stayed with me the whole 42 years. I've been with her over 46. She walked off every day. And I'm telling you, man, and I'm telling you, brothers, the only reason why I was able to do it is because I understood why I was acting out the way I was acting out. It wasn't that I was mentally ill. I was whacked out on a prearranged program. It's like you put a stupid program in a computer and it has glitches now. It misbehaves now. It ain't acting right. It has anomalies. That's what happens when you condition and brainwash a people to believe that they ain't really nothing more than cattle. And they're humanly and emotionally expendable. So if I'm humanly and emotionally expendable to them, then I'm murderous when they come, because I know what their intentions are. That's what the FOI brothers from the Zebra Killers believed. That's what we all talked about on the tier, on the yard, at Chow, at the masjid. You know, we talked about what was really going on with us. You know, them brothers ain't FOI no more. They don't want to kill white people no more. Don't nobody want to kill white people no more. Because the only thing that we want to do, only thing that we should want is, if you really want to help us, don't give us no money. Bring us the truth about what you did to us. Show it to us. Show it to us. You have histories of us. Show it to us. Show it to us.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. And tell the truth about the reason why we act like dogs in a kennel is because our origin here was dogs in a kennel. Lynch letter, how to treat a slave. Jim Crow, how to keep a dog in line. Refusing to educate, refusing to allow us to read. I know dudes in prison can do 1,000 push-ups right in your face. Can't tell you nothing about what's in the book. And the other wisdom that I have to impart to those who are in the struggle, you know, in understanding for real that only after struggle comes ease. Understand this too. Until you come to terms with where you came from and what your family went through humanly, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, you ain't gonna never know who you are. And you're gonna be acting out like a stranger. And your brain gonna have you in places where your body's gonna ask why. Because that duality about the physicality, what she was talking about, and the psychology, the mentality, the only reason why there's a battle here is because this is misbehaving. What have your body done to you? It ain't stabbed you in your sleep. It ain't suffocated you. Your body ain't done nothing to you but work. What have you done to it? What have you subjected it to? You subjected it to the same thing that them people on the plantation wanted you to be subjected to. They wanted us to be at each other so we would forget about what they've been doing. Divide and conquer. This was all psychological. Trust me. This was a psychological pill that was allowed to permeate because it had no defenders. It ain't the people that say, and I tell you this, and I tell you this after 42 years of prison, and I tell you this because I know about 30,000 people that done ran through my life with the 42 years of prison. I done had about 60, 70, maybe even 700 cellmates, different cellmates. Never had a fight in prison. Never been stabbed. Never had to stab. Never had a shoot program. I just been the email. I just been the brother that had what? The hikmah, the knowledge, and the wisdom to tell people, stop what you're doing, find yourself, understand where your family been, and forgive them because they didn't have any control or they didn't have any more control over what's been going on and what they've been playing out in their lives that you have right now. The only difference is that you have people now to tell you what you're going through, what you've been through, and bruh, that should put you on a path of self-correct. Stop calling females bitches because they don't own no plantation breeding for white people. They not. But if they out here having babies to get that welfare check, then you's a bitch. Because you behaving the way the plantation taught your mother and her mother's mother how to behave. And it's cool with them, whatever you doing, it's cool with them. It's just like even these prostitutes out here. Some of their mamas is cool with them because that's all they was doing on the plantation. That's all they know. They out here doing all they know. And they call it hustle. They call it beating game. I call it out here wasting your life. Because life is sacred, you're sacred. Life is sacred, you're sacred. After struggle comes ease. And here's the other one that I'm finna drop on you. I just want you to know because you think I forgot. I haven't forgot. It ain't the people that say that they love you that matters. It ain't the people. I know 30,000 people. It ain't the people that say, oh, I love you, Waymon. Oh, I love you. I love you, Waymon. Waymon, I love you so much. I hear that a lot. I swear I do. I ain't mad. I hear it a lot. But I can differentiate. It ain't the people that say that they love you that really matter. It's the people that'll show up for you. Because none of my family members showed up for me. The only person that showed up for me was my wife, and then my son came in 1983. Those are the only two people that showed up for me every fucking week. Excuse my French, but I'm excited. You know what I mean? Because those two people, and this is long term. My son is 40. He'll be 40 on the 9th of August. And I'm telling you, he's autistic. The best human being I've ever met in my life. If you want to know what a Muslim is, I look at my son. Just like the sister said about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you want to know what the Quran is, just look at the Prophet, because he's the Quran with legs. If you want to know what being a good Muslim is, I look at my son, because my son has taught me how to really be humble. And he don't have any understanding of plantation behavior. And he's never been subjected to plantation behavior by me and my wife. We don't even fight. That's the reason why we've been together so long, is that we search for truth and not for ego.
Ego.
Right?
First time I've heard him say that word, but it's so true, because if it's not truth, it's ego.
Boom. And so that's what we search for. We search, and that's what I'm saying. Don't be quick to ridicule and slow to understand the things that are going on around you. Try to sit somewhere and understand. You have to learn how to be still. Being still is probably the most wonderful, they call it meditation, different cultures call it different things. But meditation puts you being still puts you in a position where you can feel what's going on with you and the environment, and how you guys are working in a symbiotic relationship to get things done. Because you are trying to control, people who are trying to control others, and people who are trying to not control themselves, those people are in conflict. Your body, you tell your body to do something that it can't do, and you're going to make it do it anyway. You're in conflict. If you're putting stuff in your body to make your brain feel better, but you're willing to kill your body to make your brain feel better, you're in conflict. And they gave certain types of drugs on those plantations to the females to make them succumb. Just to let you brothers know, Germany and India at that time were wholesale drug producers. Most of all psychotropic medications in the United States come from Germany. Prolixin, Stelazine, you name it. All of those are German words. And so you really need not to allow these people to take your sanity from you, because if you sleep or they put you in a position where they sedate you where you don't care, then the scientists can do anything.
Speak true. Speak true.
Go ask Bill Cosby. You think Bill Cosby, we want to talk about black people, we could talk about black people. I could talk about black people all day. Look at Bill Cosby and what he did. I don't judge Bill Cosby. I understand Bill Cosby, because I'm not quick to ridicule or slow to understand. I understand Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby acted out plantation behavior, because that's what the slave master did. I'm sure that there's some rich white people in his clutcher group and access that came back and told him how them people got down and how they, sedated the females and, got them drunk, took them from their mama when they was, just able to bleed, sometimes, there was a lot of vaginal damage, but, just like the sisters that was, damaged in Nigeria. But on this issue, they was given all kinds of drugs. They had cocaine back then. They had all kinds of drugs. Drugs have been around for ages. And so they used to sedate these sisters and put them in rooms and just have dudes just running up in there. And, you know, some had to be tied down and they didn't care, you know. And so this is the mother that you came from. This is, you know, this is the mother and the grandmother and the great grandmother. You know, they don't even want to talk about it because they shame.
Well, and I could just, you know, add to what he said, especially putting away shame. You know, I took care of my mother for 22 years. She just transitioned in 2020. And most of my life being raised by her, she had a mental illness. You see, so I know what he's talking about firsthand. Because when things are so heavy, the weight is so heavy, and there's no one to help you, and you buckle because those that's supposed to be working with you work against you, then you could only lose your mind. So they would say it has to do with chemical imbalance, but it's not even chemical as much as it's human imbalance.
It's intent.
Intent, and then the medication made it worse. So, you know, I'm living right now off the blessing of having gone and took care of her to the very end because I understood.
It wasn't her.
It wasn't her.
Whoever you mad at, if you, stop right now. If anybody just like in the sound of my voice, stop right now, close your eyes, ask yourself, other than yourself, who are you mad at? You mad because you in a closet that you can't get out of? Well, let me help you free you from your prison. Stop acting as if you've been born on a puppy mill plantation. Move beyond that and you find white folks that you see are happy in their life are not living as if they were on a puppy mill plantation because they wasn't bred to do that. We were bred to behave like dogs on a puppy mill plantation, on a lower level, because the lower level is that, you know, they have dog breeders, they have breeders with lions, they have exotic animal breeders, they have all kinds of different types of breeders in this country. You know, my cousin Mark, he breeds dogs. That's the reason why I understand how dogs behave on these meals, in these puppy meals. Is that, but he breeds dogs, but he doesn't he breeds dogs for transporting them all over the world, bullies. And so I understand that behavior. So when I understand that behavior, the only thing that I had to do is stop behaving as if I was going to be living on a dog plantation for the rest of my life. Because you ain't free. They say you could take the brother out of LA, but you can't take the LA out of the brother. Well, some of us, they got away from the plantation, but they brought the plantation with them. So, and that's what you're suffering from. And that's what you're suffering from. Plantationitis. And if you in the penitentiary, if you sitting somewhere in a mental hospital, if you sitting somewhere at home, because home can be a penitentiary too. That's right. You know, there's a bunch of people that's been out here all their life in their 60s and 70s and have been locked up more and longer than I could have ever imagined. Because the first psychology is to human beings is this: self-preservation, and never allow your sanity to suspend in a delicate balance.
All right, so we're going to end it there. Repeat that one more time. Self-preservation. Go ahead, my brethren.
The top principles of life is self-preservation and not allow yourself to live in a delicate, with your sanity and suspended in a delicate balance. You don't want your sanity suspended in a delicate balance. I'm so happy that after 42 years, I got out and my brain is still snappy.
Even more so. Because the distraction out here could have been, you know, not quite.
There's a lot of temptation. There's a lot of temptation out here. There's a lot of temptation out here.
Temptation.
But Ramadan teaches a real brother how to say no.
You know, but I think
but I want to say I love my wife Teresa and my son Brian, because they're gonna watch this. I know they're gonna watch this and show too many people. But I'm saying, you know, that's the anchor. You know, the anchor is your family. not what happened to you and your parents prior to that. You have an opportunity to break the cycle of behaving as if you were born on a puppy mill plantation. And so just believe and understand what I'm saying, because I'm the living proof that one, after struggle comes ease. And two, it's not what you can get in this world. It's not. And I found that out. It's not what you can get while you out here in this world. It's what you can keep.
What you can keep.
That's why I kept my wife. That's why I keep my son. That's why I bought them a house before I got out of prison. That's why I have vehicles now. And I'm driving. I'm driving. I wasn't, y'all don't even know I wasn't driving. The first thing I did when I got out of prison, y'all think I went and got something to eat? No, my stomach don't even accept this food out here. My stomach asks me what this food is. It run through me like going through a goose. And so my first thing was to go and hug a tree. I was deprived of trees in prison. The texture of the tree, wow. To hug it, the bark.
Nature.
I was, and once I hugged that tree, the second thing I did, because I never thought I would even get out of prison. And so the second thing that I did was I went to Santa Cruz and stood on the beach and looked out at the ocean for the first time. And I cried like a child. And you know, when God says that he doesn't change the condition of a people until the people first change their own condition, that's right. He didn't mean the physiological. He didn't mean the exterior. He meant the heart. You got to change your heart, because if you stop loving yourself, you'll put yourself in any predicament. That's right. People that you don't love, you'll put them in any predicament. That's right. And if you don't love yourself, you'll put yourself in any predicament. That's right. And so when I started loving myself, I stopped putting myself in dumb predicaments. When I started loving myself, I started investing in my own education. That's right. That's right. When I started loving myself, I became a friend to myself. I became a protector to myself. And then other individuals saw that I was doing such a good job myself that they needed my help to help them be better. And that's my inspiration, and that's the reason why I love this sister, because her energy is to push people forward and to make people better, not to make people worse. If I didn't even really want to do this, I just want you guys to know this before I leave. I really didn't even want to do this. I put this off. Because I'm in the process of writing a book. So I put this off. So this is going to probably be the prelude to my book. This interview, it will probably be the prelude to my book. And my law partner, Dale, is going to write a book. And I know my other law partner, William Wright, who also facilitated me getting out of here. I've been working for him for 20 years. And I used to work for his father, and his father was an international attorney in Beijing, China. And he's a professor at Lincoln Law School. And so I came out here, and I was phenomenally embraced by the people in this African market community.
24th and Florin.
On 2251 Florin?
Yeah, 2251 Florin Road, Sacramento.
Yeah. And my office is 138. Our law firm office is in Suite 138 here. But I also work on Folsom and Watt in Suite 192.
Sacramento.
In Sacramento. The law office is of William F. Wright. I just want to be a facilitator. You know, I don't want to be a judge or an instigator. I don't want to be put in a position where I'm speaking, people are trying to revolutionize. If anybody want to revolutionize, if anybody want to do anything other than be better, I can teach you how to do jihad. Jihad is self. Jihad, you hear that on TV, jihad, we on jihad. Jihad has nothing to do with the exterior of man. Go read it in the Quran. The jihad doesn't have anything to do with what's going on the exterior of man. Jihad has everything to do with what's going on in the interior of man. If you know how to deal with the interior of self, the outside becomes complicated no more. Because you are a brain that's never been on this earth before. You sacred. You are a brain. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we are brains that have never been here before. We don't know what happened to them people. The only thing that we do is we was inundated by messages at a very young age that conditioned us to behave badly as adults.
On our journey to right that wrong.
And it was designed. And so, and the thing is that it was designed because as soon as they shut down the paper mills, honest to God, go read it. 1816 to 1821, when the Quakers came, the Quakers were scientists. They were social scientists. They really didn't believe in God at all. What they did is that they came with a whole nother mental structure. And William Penn brought the idea of putting penitentiaries in it because the slaves was running them up. So they needed to corral the slaves that had been set free or ran off from them puppy mill plantations.
Know your history.
That's how the penitentiary started here in the United States.
Know your history.
And guess what? Still, there's more black people in these penitentiaries than any other race. And we are the least of the population in this country.
15 or 14%.
We less than 13% of the population in this country. But maybe 30, we're probably about 32%. We're probably about 32% because there's 400 million people in the United States now.
Don't let that be your rites of passages to go to the prison.
But the penitentiary was nothing but a corral, because they already know that if you leave the puppy mill and you start acting like they wanted you to act on that puppy mill, when you come out in regular society, you're gonna start acting like the people in the puppy mill, where these people that ain't never been to a puppy mill is gonna have a problem. They're gonna have a problem with you because you ain't behaving nothing like they customized to behave.
And therefore, what they start.
Now, if they catch you, now I'm gonna tell you something too, and somebody proved me wrong. Some white people, if they catch you when you're 4 or 5 years old, they'll adopt you and raise you like they own, and they'll teach you ways that are not puppy mill induced. There's a lot of people that's been raised by white people. I was raised by white people. I was raised by them white people in the penitentiary. They taught me, them white people in the penitentiary taught me things about them that they probably don't even want their own kids, their wife and kids to know. You can, like I said, you can Google me. I'm a federal court tactician. I'm a degree paralegal. I own my own homes. Just bought a boat, a pontoon boat. And I drive a big red Dodge Hemi pickup. And candy apple red, brand new. And I'm trying to tell you, I had 5 years ago, I would have cut off both my legs to sit here in this chair next to this sister, because I was in the penitentiary looking out the sliver window out at the yard. Dead man's land. It was just dirt, fence, and some buildings on the outside. That was it. And I'm telling you, it was the most miserable. That prison was miserable because, you know, it started off on boats. You know, the first prison was the boat that them brothers was brought over here on. Shackled. If that ain't shoe time, I don't know what it is. And so, you know, I looked at them brothers. I held empathy in my heart, deep in my heart for them brothers. And the same empathy that I have for them brothers that was on that ship chained up, I had the same empathy out here for the brothers that's out here that's psychologically and humanly and emotionally chained, bounded in a behavior that they don't seem to be able to shake. You know, and the thing is that it's not even self-destructive, because what it is that you have people who implode and you have people explode. Black people don't commit suicide as often as other races. We are more warlike from Africa. We are more warlike, and so we are more explosive. You know, we are more the people that'll come and get you, and you know, than somebody that'll, you know, not come and get you. You know, you hurt my feelings and I'm gonna go somewhere and sit down and I'm just gonna pout. Well, that's what white people do. That's what they condition to. Somebody hurt their feelings, they just go someplace and be quiet. You hurt black people's feelings, they get loud. They get loud. And what happens is that from that puppy mill plantation, when you get anything that bothers you, anything that annoys you, anything that irritates you, aggravates you, you turn that and morph that in your mind into anger, and then you act out against it. That's what they teach you on the puppy mill plantation. The white people in the civilized, they do this. They take a tissue and go sit somewhere and wipe their eyes. And they contemplate the truth of what just happened to them to hurt their feelings. They try to understand the need to be patient with the people who hurt their feelings. And they need to understand, and they have the ability to actuate, just to put it into work, the formidable understanding of condition and consistency.
And then they make rules and laws to make sure it doesn't happen again. That's how they do it. They fix rules and law to make sure they don't repeat. And oftentimes that's a barrier to make sure that you, the ones that have not done so, cannot come and do it to them again. So we've been blessed today, my audience. Blessed in more ways than one. I'm
happy to be here with you. I'm happy that you reached today on time. I'm happy that your heart is poetically inclined like mine.
Yeah, speak it.
I am tremendously grateful to know another mind that set herself free. Love you for that.
Thank you.
You know, because you're a soldier for that. And then the fact that, you know, you were able to guide your babies away from behavior that you knew was systemic. You know, because you go to, you know, I want to go to a white church, like an all-white church. I want to go to an all-white church. And then when the preacher is on the stage, when he's talking about the things that went on before in the Bible, can we talk about what went on here? You guys want to keep talking about us and what happened in the Bible, and you keep repeating the information what happened in the Bible. Okay, we know what happened in the Bible. We didn't find people doing puppy mill behavior in the Bible. So where did y'all get this puppy mill behavior from, and think that now that y'all done had to shut down the puppy mill because slavery was over, shut down the puppy mills? That wasn't, shut down them puppy mills. They was doing all kinds of human experiments. Y'all think that Tuskegee University was the first time them scientists attacked black people? Black people being attacked by these scientists? Let's see what they do. Let's see what this does. I want you guys to go read too. I want you guys to go read. If you guys want to really understand, my brain just helped me. My brain helps me. And I want you guys to understand. I want you guys to go read this book called Empires of the Ants.
Empires of the Ants.
The ants were the first things here, moving. There's more ants here than anything on earth other than cockroaches.
And crickets right now in Nevada. Crickets are crazy in Nevada right now.
Most of all these insects are really termites with exoskeletal shells. They're just different species of termites. And they have, these are termites all have exoskeleton, roaches, crickets, all these, they have exoskeleton scale, but inside that shell, they're just termites. They're voracious eaters and breeders. They're voracious and breeding, and there's more of those, pound for pound, there are more insects on this earth than humans could ever imagine to weigh. And if they ever decide to just completely proliferate, they would move us out of the way.
Well, I was recently on the motherland and I saw what those termites built, those big old termite houses or mounts.
Yes.
And they're everywhere.
Yes.
And when you touch them, they are very hard.
And when you observe them up close, their behavior, oh, sister, it's all G2. They have nothing but regard for one another. And that's what, because, some of the Muslims here outside that I've encountered, when they meet me, they know me. So when they meet me, they say, Assalamu alaikum, brother. And I say, well, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And they ask me, why you say the rest of that? I said, because really it's longer than that. It's walaikum assalam wa barakatuh, jitu kuliyakamuka. Jitu kuliyakamuka means that I only come to you out of regard for you. And so every person I meet, if I don't want to meet you, I ignore you and bounce, because that's a choice.
That's right.
But if I want to encounter you and I make the choice to accept your invitation or you accept my invitation, trust that I'm not coming to you out of nothing but regard.
That's right. That's right.
That means that everything about you to me is sacred. Your word, your heart, your blood, your shoes, your clothes, your things, your woman, your husband, your kids, your daughter, your dog, your carpet, your toilet paper, everything about you to me at that point becomes sacred. And if we become friends, I become your protector. Now, how is that not the most gracious position to put yourself in? Because that means I don't have any enemies. Whatever your ancestors done to me, pal, as long as you ain't trying to push it, you cool with me. But if you start acting and behaving as if I'm something other than what I know that I am, you're going to see a problem with me. You're going to have a problem with me on levels that you may not even understand that you're going to have problems with me. And if you think that you're superior on this planet, I'm going to take you to places where you may not want to go.
Whoa.
Huh? You see?
Yes.
And the thing is that that's the consistency. That's the power of consistency. Yes. Some of these cases in federal court, I fought on a plastic typewriter for 6 years. And I'm prosecuting against the United States Attorney General or the California Attorney General. And they got a massive array of staff. Brilliant people. You're not smart enough to overdo the truth.
That's what I'm gonna say. Truth needs no defense.
Truth, you ain't smart enough.
Truth needs no defense.
Look, you can get 70 million people gathered.
So know the truth.
You can get 70 million people gathered. And I can walk on a stage just as calm as can be and tell them, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. This is the most prayed prayer on earth. And what it does is that it makes you centralized. With the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, all praise be to God, the cherisher and sustainer of all the worlds. Most gracious, most merciful, master of the day of judgment. Thee do we worship, thy aid we seek. Show us the straight way, the way of those who thou hast bestowed thy grace. Show me the way of those who you have bestowed your grace. That's what I wanted to bring to your attention. That's the part. I want to be a part of the people that God has restored. Restore me to the sanity before somebody's insanity caught up with me. Restore me. Give me my original intent. It wasn't, you didn't bring me on this earth to be no puppy. You didn't bring me on this earth to be no slave. You didn't bring me on this earth to be no monkey. You didn't bring me to be no patsy, no punk, no coward. You didn't bring me on this earth. This is the first time I've ever been on earth. Why would you bring me here and subject me to something like this when I have choices to go do something else? When I have choices to go do something else. Oh, cuz, let's go down here and do this, and let's go down here and drive by, blah, blah, blah. Okay, bro, check this out. You acting out white man's insanity. Because the only people that want other brothers killed is white people. They want to, if they could figure out how to coalesce, they would. Oh, guess what they did? They went from 22,000 people. When I went to prison, it was only 22,000 people in state prison. And when I got out, there was 168,000. It's where they hold puppies that won't act right in free society. But you bred them on a puppy mill. You breed them like puppy mills. They mama, you got rappers out here reminding the females of where they was at and what they was doing. And, you know, on the plantation, the bitch was the lowest of the low because, you know, anybody that has sex with a whole bunch of men ain't shit to most society. And I just want you guys to understand that this was something that was put in. It was encoded. It was built in. Somebody has to go in and pull it out. It's a bad chip going on inside people's thinking, and it's stinking thinking. And I want you to know that if you don't stop what you're doing right now and about face, you're going to wake up one morning and you're going to be stuck in a position where you got a chain around your neck, around your wrists, around your knees, and around your ankle, and you got a butt plug, and you hearing a bunch of noise, but it ain't shit that you can do. Because the worst thing for an African-American man to feel is helpless.
And we're going to leave it there. We're going to leave it there. And we give thanks to you, my brethren.
Assalamu alaikum, sister, and thank you for having me.
Yes. And I'm going to do 2 poems.
Work it.
And I'm going to do Early's poem first. And it says, I too have the right to live. By Early Laverne. I strongly believe in equality, ever beholden to reality. Daily I ward off insanity, fighting to maintain my liberty. I grow tired of being pushed to the side. I am a man with healthy pride. I have made it a way of life to serve others. It's an honor to help kids, women also, you brothers. I practice often to apply the right mental tools, staying clear of being misused or abused. Good changes often come too late. Enemies are on a mission to discord hate. The humanity in me inspires me to give. I too have a right to live. It's no problem to me walking a straight, narrow path. I'm spiritually built to last. I am imparting the honest truth. Caring for others sincerely is what I do. I am partially successful of controlling my tears. Nonetheless, I too have the right to live. Chances are I may be expecting too much. Claiming my distinction is quite tough. Being an outstanding achiever doesn't always win. To the world at large, I desire to be a true friend. I know the joy of spreading my wings. Within me are gifts of countless beautiful things. As of now, I will continue to chill, grasping all there is to know regarding God's divine will. I am that symbol of light of a clear day. Please don't form the habit of putting obstacles in my way. Caring and thinking people know of this drill, I too have a right to live. Human beings are not produced to just survive. That of itself is an ultimate lie. I care not to receive what social bleeders give. Yes, I too have a right to live heart to heart.
Heart to heart. Because he's saying what I'm saying. I'm thinking that he wrote that for me.
Exactly.
Because he's saying because you know what the thing is that I can understand now too that there's a nexus that, you know what, he's one of us.
That's correct.
He's off that plantation. He
spent many years in Angola.
Yeah, and he's off that plantation.
That's correct.
In here, he's off that plantation. Because the brothers like Dale got off the plantation. See, yeah, he did 16 years straight. I did most of it with him, you know, but, you know, and him and I ain't never had an argument. And we out here working together now. So that dynamic in and of itself is that, you know what, people who get off that plantation, they rise to the surface.
Correct. That's why I kind of say it's like a rites of passages in a sense, because when you come through there, you're a changed individual. But we want to establish that strength and change here before we even get there. But if it has to happen, this is the way you must return. Yeah. Go forward.
Plantation animal, if you don't act the way that we want you to act, we'll put you back in a cage. You know, we already just let you out of the cage, but if you don't want to act the way that we want you to act out here with us, we'll put you in a cage.
And we can't allow that anymore. You have the power.
It don't matter what we taught you at the plantation. Whatever you did at the plantation, that was at the plantation. You heard that thing, whatever goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. That was the story of what was going on the plantation. What was ever going on the plantation stayed on the plantation. They got that from plantations. They didn't come up with that on their own.
And here's the last poem. I started the whole series of this speaking with my brethren here with the white man's burden. But there was a brother that wrote, his name was Hubert H. Harrison. In the 1940s, he wrote a book called When Africa Awakes. And in that book was the Black Man's Burden poem that he had written, a reply to Rudyard Kipling's. When my son was like 11 years old, I had him in piano since he was 4.5 till he was 14, classically trained 5 of those years. I would have my son learning all kinds of poems and going around in the community, playing a classical piano piece, getting up and by memory doing poems. And this is one that he learned and did, blew people's mind. Now this is kind of lost in the book. People don't know about this poem. Yes, this is the answer to Rudyard Kipling's poem by Hubert H. Harrison, The Black Man's Burden. Take up the black man's burden, send forth the words he breathed, and bind our sons in shackles to serve your selfish greed. To wait in heavy harness, bedeviled and beguiled, until the fates remove you from the world you have defiled. Take up the black man's burden, your lives may still abide, to veil the threat of terror and check our racial pride. Your cannon, church, and courthouse may still our sons constrain to seek the white man's profit and work the white man's gain. Take up the black man's burden, reach out and hog the earth, and leave your workers hungry in the country of their birth. Then when your goal is nearest, the end for which you fought, watch others' trained efficiency bring all your hope to naught. Take up the black man's burden. Reduce their chiefs and kings to toil of serf of sweepers, the lot of common things. Sodden their soil with slaughter. Ravish their lands with lead. Go, sign them with your living and seal them with your dead. Take up the black man's burden and reap your own reward. The curse of those ye cozen, the hate of those ye barred, from your Canadian cities and your Australian ports. And when they ask for meat and drink, go, girdle them with forts. Take up the black man's burden. Ye cannot stoop to less. Will not your fraud of freedom still cloak your greediness? But by the gods ye worship, and by the deeds ye do, these silent, sullen people shall weigh your gods in you. Take up the black man's burden until the tale is told, until the balance of hate bear down the beam of gold. And while he wait, remember that justice, though delayed, will hold you as his debtor till the black man's debt is paid. So, my audience, my friends, my people.
That's deep. That's deep.
Got to read. You got to read. It's in the books.
Because these people out here have you struggling with God, and it's them that you need to struggle with. It ain't God that you need to struggle against. It's them people and the ideas that they've been permeated and planted in your mind to make you believe things that are about you that are not true.
Because God came with you. Always there waiting for you to say, I am ready now.
You can't be sacred and dirt at the same time. Right. Unless you sacred land.
Yeah. Which God you serve.
Because if God can make dirt holy, sacred. If God could make Moses take off his shoes and walk on sacred ground.
If God could bring you here, and you don't even know from whence you came, even if your parents are long gone, you're still here. So I don't know, but if I don't walk with God, I am nothing. I'm only here because God says that I should be here. And I know I will transcend, but I'm living my best life now, and I'm doing God's work. So I'm going to close. We could continue. You can see that this could be an ongoing thing because, my brethren, thank you so much. The people thank you. The Creator, of course, has ordained you to do this work. And you and I have a lot in common. We're peers. We share the same years.
Soldiers on the same field.
That's right.
I mean, the thing is that look, this is just how I feel because I look at certain brothers, and when I look at black people, I ask myself, has he released himself from the plantation?
And I have.
That's my question. My question is, when I see other black people, females. Because I'm out here, I'm new, I'm a stranger out here, so I'm like a person in a new country. And so, when I see the black people out here and dealing with whatever they're dealing with, first thing my question is that are these plantation niggas, or is or is these people who have freed themselves?
The conscious and the unconscious, I would say.
Yeah, you can put it in that way, the people that are conscious, but the thing is that the victims of brainwashing are grouped in hordes. And they're not just individuals. You got hordes of people who have been from that plantation, Puppy Mill Plantation. You got hordes of people believing that what's going on in that plantation is all there is to do out here. When ants live in their hive and they go out into the world, they still behave as if they're inside the hive. Christians in this country has taught us that when they go inside their hive, they church, is that's what a hive is. I don't know what you guys are thinking of out here, but that church is a hive. That masjid is a hive. That temple is a hive, just like the bees, just like the ants. Those are hives.
It's the only place you could serenade.
They come and congregate.
Right.
They come and congregate, and they come and conspire.
So So would you say foundations are similar to that? That's where they go now. They don't really. I don't know.
Because because the Christians in their world, if you were to believe that their world was like ants, the Christians, according to them, when they go into their hive, when they come out of their hive, they are Jesus. They dare to care like Christ. I don't see it. But then you have some Christian organizations that I've encountered out here that in their hive, their whole mission is to get money to send people out into the world to do the work. Missionaries.
I see them in Africa.
Love them.
Yes.
See, they're on the right path, even though that's not mine. Yeah. Right? But I acknowledge that's how it's working. That's the reason why I was telling your audience, go read that book, Empire of the Ants. You go read Empire of the Ants and you'll understand what's really going on around you. A lot of people are suffering from arrested development. Some people have a retarded perception of reality. And it is those two enzymes, ignorance and your ability to not have the perception that's necessary to address and deal with you, not the things around. Because if you deal with you, the things around you will be dealt with.
That's correct. That's correct.
I've dealt with me. I'm telling you, I was a horrible person. I'm telling you, this guy here that you see right here, he had to murder that other dude in order to be here with you. And the only way that I could actually choke him out so he wouldn't come back is to understand that the only reason why I'm behaving like an animal is because my mother and my mother's mother and her mother's mother were trained to teach the males to be animals so they can be protected from the white man.
So knowledge is power. And our brethren has given us a lot of knowledge today.
So don't be conditioned.
Don't be conditioned. Go and study, learn the truth. And we give thanks again, my brethren. Yo.
Before this, I had an issue with this because I've been in prison and I've had these on. I've worn these many times in my life.
Property of the Georgetown County Plantation Police is what it says on this.
The Plantation Police.
This was given to me by a teacher when I did the Black History programs from the schools, letting them know who the African people were. And I was alone doing it. I didn't have a witness, but I have the videos, and one day I'll post those too.
And this is not for adults. This is for children and women.
Yes.
I just want you guys to understand that too, and I don't know if she knows.
Yes.
But I know the difference between, I know handcuffs. I know the different sizes, all that. Because the whole time I was in prison, I was a captain's clerk. And so I have a lot of information and a lot of knowledge about how prisons even work and where they came from. But this here is for women and children. So if this is for women and children, guess what? It's probably the same things that they use to tie her wrists and tie her feet and then rape her and then have a bunch of other people coming in there and raping her. And then when they unleash her, she got to come back and breastfeed you. What does that do to the child when the mama has been severely attacked? And everybody, and this stuff is not happening to you. It's not what she's going through, unless they got some gay boys on the plantation. What's going on with her is not what's going on with you, so you don't understand and you don't see what's going on with her. And she ain't sharing it with you because she's shamed. She ain't sharing it with you because she's shamed. And so the only thing that she can have you do is be her protector and teach you how to be an emotionless animal. And just go do what you say. Because my mama used to tell me to go beat up people because, you know, I was the little brother, but I was the big little brother. My big brother would come get me to go fight for him. And so that was a conditioning. You know, you gotta break the condition. You gotta break the condition. And in order to break the condition, you gotta know why you in the condition that you in and who caused you to be in that situation, and then undo it. Because the only thing is, God will change that condition when you seek to change that condition. That's the Quran. That's Allah saying He promises you that if you seek to change the condition of your heart, your whole exterior condition will change. People do for me just because I'm the person that I am. You know, people love me and hug on me, man, just because of the person that I am. They wouldn't have done it to that cat that got me in prison. That cat that got me to prison, I don't even want him no more. I don't need him no more. Hey, bro, you gonna need a gun out here, bro. You got money, you got cars, you got blah, 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 blah. You be running around. So let me tell you something. Only thing I need out here, bro, is me and Allah. Because that's all Moses needed in the desert, him and Allah. He didn't need nobody else. And if Moses can make it in 40 years, I made it in 42, so Allah loved me better. That's all I'm saying.
Peace out. Love, and thank you very much for watching. Thumbs up, share, and tell a friend. Leave a comment.
And if any of y'all need to contact me for legal work, Google me, Waymon Berry.
All right. Bless.